Hello, welcome to .NET Training Academy. In this episode, we are going to learn how to create a chat application using ASP.NET Core. So to create a chat application in ASP.NET Core, we have an awesome library or extension which is signalR. It is the simplest way to achieve a real-time web functionality. It is used in ASP.NET MVC as a old version, but it is a lot more enhanced, which has a lot of cool features. So before getting into the action part of how to create chat application in ASP.NET Core, we need to learn about the architecture of how signalR works. So by the ground up, it has something called as publisher. The publisher is a design pattern, which is publisher and subscriber design pattern, which is used in C#. That is the same design pattern which is used in the signalR. So basically, the publisher and subscriber is very similar to the client and server connection. So what actually happens here is a publisher has the message cache, where the messages are stored in the cache. So, and then the workers, which is over here, are allocated or scheduled for some specific clients. So the worker's job is to send the message to the client via a transport medium. So that medium will be anything, which is maybe an HTTP, or it will be over the TCP or IP. So the clients will be something like our devices. The device may be the Android phone, iPhone, or the laptops, tablets, or any kind of client which will be there. So the workers are specifically connected to some specific clients, and it also scheduled for some it also scheduled to work along with the clients. So these entire section, which is the message cache and the worker sections, are called as the message hub, which is responsible for handling the process between the publisher and subscriber. Uh, Basically, the publisher and subscriber design pattern means the both the client and clients in the two ends, both the ends are connected or subscribed to the publisher, which is the server. So it's basically a one-to-one chat or one-to-many group chat, or listening to a long polling application, or it may be sending events, server events, notification, so those kind of stuff. So basically the signalR are used in a lot of things, like chat application, real world application, stock market, and social networks, gamings, multiplayer gamings, a lot of stuff signalR can be used for. So that is what actually here the basic architecture of the signalR. So now let's get into the action part. So here in my case, I'm using Visual Studio Code for my as my editor. You can use Visual Studio either. So I just open my terminal. So the first step one process that we need to do is to create a web application. So I just created a signalR demo folder. Now inside of the folder, I'm creating a new web app. So to create that, I'm using the command called .NET new web app. So it just created the application for me. Okay, that is fine. So now it is restoring the packages. And next thing, I wanted to do So the next thing is I wanted to initialize Node Package Manager. So npm init. So I'm going to use the command called npm init. So it just created the package.json file, which is the name of my application. And second thing, I'm going to install the npm. Okay, so npm install ASP.NET slash signalR. So it takes some time depending upon the network speed mine is created. So if you see here, instead of the node module signalR, I can see the signalR thing. So what I'm going to do is to copy signalR, and I'm going to paste that inside my library directory, and I'm going to create a new folder which is called signalR. Sorry, I just misspelled that. signalR, and I'm going to paste that specific code inside of this. Okay, so now we just created step one, which is creating and installing the required things we want. So the thing, which means step two, is to create a file which is called as chat hub. Sorry, which is actually going to be the chat hub.cs, which is a C# folder. So to do that, so first thing I'm going to import. So just now created the chathub application, chathub.cs file. Now I'm going to import required things I want. So I'm going to import the signalR library, and I also need system.threading.tasks, which is used for the asynchronous processing. So I'm going to create a namespace with the name of signalR demo, and I'm also going to create a class, which is public class chat hub, and I'm going to inherit the hub. Instead of the hub, I'm having something like a method. So inside of it, I'm going to add a method which is a synchronous method. Though the real-time process is asynchronous, I'm going to use that message. Basically, asynchronous means it will allow multiple files asynchronously or multiple information asynchronously without blocking anything, which is basically a non-blocking thing. So inside of the send message, I'm going to pass a couple of parameters, which is a string user, and the user going to send the message, and the message is another parameter. So await clients await clients dot all dot send async. And if you see here inside of the method send async, we have three parameters. First thing is the message method that we going to invoke, which is the receive message. When we send message, vice versa, we should invoke the receive message, and also we are passing a couple of parameters, arguments over here. The first one is send async, which is a method. The name of the method we need to invoke, and the argument 1 and the argument 2. We are actually not using cancellation token here, so no need to do that. So here we created the chathub.cs file, which is the main block to creating a chat. So we just created the basic bone for sending a message as well as the receiving the message. So here I'm going to configure the signalR in the startup file. So to do that, what I'm going to do is to add in the configure services. So if you see over here, you can say something like configure service. So in ASP.NET Core, we all know that all the configurations should be done here. So signal or add signal R, add signal R method, and finally I'm going to use this one. So finally I'm going to add the route for the signal R, use signal R and routes. So here, so it's simple thing, which is routes dot map hub, which is a generic method. So our map hub, which means the chat hub, is going to be the class called chat hub, and should specify the path chat hub, which is the URL path, which is a routing path. We just set the routing for our chatting application. So
Step
we
two.
just so now we are going to take care of the client side. We just configured the server side. Now we just need to configure the client side. So here is the a page, your HTML code, which is I already created, which saves some time for me. So I just copied that code. Instead of this code, I'm going to replace that one. So I just replace this code. I'm going to remove all this nitty-gritty things, and I'm also going to clean the boilerplate code which is created by the C#. I don't need this navbar. Actually, I don't need the footer, and also don't need this class. So basically, let's run this and just look around the output, just to know how the visualization work, just looking like. Created. Yeah, looking cool. The Let's Chat application. So the name and the message that we're going to use. So we just created the view, which means the HTML. Here in my case, I'm using the Bootstrap. If you want the code, I will just paste this stuff over the description. You can make use of it. So yeah, and the final cool thing is to configure the JavaScript. And before that, you can see the input text name, which has the ID of username, and here the ID of user message and ID of send message. And these three things will be taken to send a message. And you can see the message list. And this selector is taken for showcasing, which means displaying the messages sent by the a couple of ends in the client sides. So both the messages received from one end to another end will be displayed in this section. So if we get into the site.js file, the first thing I'm going to create a connection for the signalR in JavaScript. So for that, I'm using the variable constant connection is equal to new signalR dot signalR dot hub connection builder method. So dot with u URL / chat hub, the route that we specified, and dot build method. And the second thing is going to be to send a message. Send the message. So to send the message, I'm going to get the document.get element by ID inside of the send message, which is in the button, the input type button. So I'm going to add event listener, which is click. So when we click the button, this event needs to be triggered. So the event constant user is equal to document dot get element by ID, username dot value. So here in this line we are just getting the value of this text input. So we also need to get the value of the message input. So the message is equal to document dot get element by ID user message dot value. Okay, that's cool. So we need to invoke the send message which we created in the chat hub here. So to invoke that, I'm going to use this connection dot invoke and the method name send message comma user comma message dot catch. If we have some error, I'm going to catch, and I'll let it to display in the error log console dot error dot to string. Okay, so finally inside of the send section of the message, I'm going to take that event dot prevent default. So the next thing is going to be the receiving the message. So to receive the message, okay, that's right. So the document dot get element by ID. So I don't need to reiterate this thing, so I'm just going to copy. So to receive the message, what I'm going to do is to connection dot on receive message comma user comma message and the lambda of constant message is equal to the encode So what I'm going to do, so here I'm going to create a constant list to just create an element when every time that we received a message, which is a list element. So I'm just creating that element create element, which the method creates the element in our document. So, and inside of that, I'm going to add the text content. So the text content is going to be the user. So before doing this thing, I'm also going to add a variable, which is a constant uh, message is equal to user plus and message. Yeah, this is it. So what I'm going to do, so the next thing is I'm going to pass the variable REST message here. So that's it. So, and finally, what I'm going to do is to append this list, a get element by ID, and instead of the message list, which is the basically this ID instead of the UL tag, unordered list tag dot append child. The child is the list variable, which is we defined here. So the connection dot start catch the error console dot error error dot to string. Okay, that's it. So let's make this code cleaner. Okay, I just completed all the process. The step one is creating the ASP.NET Core application and the packages we needed, which is the signalR. And secondly, I just created the chat hub, which is having the method called send message. And finally, we just created our HTML input. And the last, so to see the output, what I'm going to do is to create a couple of windows, just like this. So copy this one, and reload this stuff. So if you want to see the inspect element, you can see unquoted signalR is not defined. Okay, let's see the what's happening. We didn't link that link the script.js instead of this file. So what I'm going to do is to link that. So lib slash signalR, I think signalR slash signalR.js. That is fine. Okay, now let's reload this stuff and inspect. Inspect. Now if we see the normalizing, it's actually connected. So that is a cool thing. So let's open this both the frames. And so here .NET Training Academy, and hi, how are you guys? Subscribers, we are fine, we are awesome. So first I'm going to click the send button over here. Invoke is not a function. Oops, I think the error is this thing. connection.invoke. Okay, let me reload the stuff. So now the same thing, .NET Training Academy. Hello, how are you guys? Send, and append child method cannot read the property called append child. So let's see, the error cannot read the property. So the error is, let me check this ID once again. Oops, it's messages list. So it's cool. Now if we reload this stuff again, send this one again, reload, Training Academy. How are you guys? Here it is. If we, so now just reload the stuff. So we just cleared all of our errors. So now .NET Training Academy. How are you guys? Send the stuff, and here we can see the message and subscribers. We are fine. Oh, we are awesome. Send this, we can chat further down here. And so finally we created a chat application. Yes, it's awesome. So that's it. That's the end of the video. If you like the video, please like. And if you wanted to learn more about signalR, uh, and like creating some, there are a lot of stuffs in signalR. You can have a long polling, and you can, long polling means we have a long connection like stock market. You can also send notifications, games. If you wanted to create, if you want more details about the signalR, or else if you wanted to create a real-time chat application with user authentication, this is the fake stuff. So we don't need to do these kind of user messages kind of stuff. All we need to do is to log in as an user and send that user, which is basically the application, using the application user in the identity data database. So if you want the real world application like WeChat or WhatsApp, the only constraint I set for you guys is I need about 300 likes. If I get about 300 likes, I'm going to start that particular course, which is the detailed thing on this real world signalR application, signalR library. I'm going to create a free tutorial for you in YouTube. So please make that happen if I get 300 likes. So please share this video as much as you can, and if you have any doubts, go ahead in the comment section. I hope I will answer as soon as possible.